Welcome everybody back. I didn't announce this live stream. I tried to earlier, but things just simply did not work. I'm not even going to try looking at the live chat until after to see if I can even put anything there. I don't know if it's working or not. We got it to work, and then as soon as the Justin, the guy that was working on with Restream on me to see if it was running, as soon as he signed out, it stopped working. So there's something going on. So I don't know if I'll use the live chat. I'll look at it later, but we'll see if any. But anyway, I thought I'd just come back on and because there's some interesting developments here. I thought I was watching a science fiction movie. So after this restream debacle that happened with the live chat, and I was trying to do a question and answer, live chat question and answer, and I couldn't do it today because the system didn't work. So I decided to do something else. I deleted those videos out of YouTube and Facebook and going to do something totally different. Didn't have time to do a lot of photographs or post pictures or anything like that. But I swear, I thought I was watching science fiction. So went upstairs after all this, ate lunch. I mean, ate dinner, I guess you call it dinner. And so I'm sitting there watching the hearings, uh, excerpts from the hearings on the congressional hearings on UFOs, and they call them something different. And I got it up here on here. Get tongue tied. Unidentified anomalous phenomena. I like UFOs better. It's easier to say. Unidentified flying objects. And what did you see? I saw an unidentified anomalous phenomena. I can't stand how people like to change things. Just keep it to UFOs. Everybody knows what a UFO is. Well, why do you have to change it to this big long word? And if you're a military man and you saw one of these things, I think I know why they did that with that big long words, unidentified anomalous uh, object. Because you have to write a report and you have to rewrite that word, your hands will get tired. So I don't know. So you'll stop writing reports about them. But there are some interesting things that came out of this, and it struck me as some of the things they found. So basically, as I said before, the latest findings are they found tissue matter from, they don't specify what type of creatures. They're non-human, they don't know what they are, and they have some samples. I thought that was pretty wild. I thought I'm watching a beginning of a science fiction movie, and I'm like, I'm ready to see the flying saucer flying over the city, like, and Independence Day, and start zapping people. And so, I'm going, what in the world is this? And so I'm watching all this fancy stuff, all this crazy stuff going on, and so they have tremendous amount of aerial footage and tracking all over the world of these UFOs. I'm gonna call them UFOs. It's much easier to say than UAOs or whatever they are. What was that? What do they call them? Ah, unidentified, whatever they were, whatever. I can't even see when they change things. I can't remember what. But anyway, that is an amazing thing. They changed the names, and I'm gonna call it UFOs. And so they're talking about these. They found tissue matter. I thought that was pretty wild. Is it human? Well, not quite. No, and it's different answers from different people, but it was interesting. And some of them say we can't talk about it anymore. We have to. This is we can't talk about this. And do you have parts of the ships? Yeah, we have parts. Are you putting them back together? Can you use them? No. And why are these things always like military bases? Probably the same reason China likes ours military bases and we like theirs. They're just probably assessing things. It just makes you start to think that, boy, we're ready for an alien invasion in 2025. Who knows? ET could be back. Now, I don't think ET's coming back. I think these are demonic beings, like Chuck Missler said many years ago, interdimensional beings in some type of suit where they can interact in our dimension. is what I think. And that is why these things go under the sea. They see them go under the mountains and things like that. And that is what we're seeing. So I was watching the hearings and stuff, and you can put it in the comments if you like, and just whatever you think about this stuff, because it's pretty bizarre. It's pretty weird, and to watch, and senators and congressmen and people from different organizations in the military talking about all this stuff, and now they're declassifying it, and it's out on the table. And these things fly in formations. They like to buzz, and they haven't done any havoc. And so one of the congressional interviewers was asking the panel of gentlemen up there on UFOs, and have they shown any hostility yet? I thought, oh, I can't help but think of the movie Mars Attacks. I'm just thinking, um, we have such dumb people in Congress, and right now, it reminds me of that movie Mars Attacks. We come in peace. Yeah, right. And then and then they start attacking. So are they hostile? We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know what we're looking at. We can't identify. If something's there, it's real. And we have some tissues, and we don't even know what we're looking at. And basically they have pieces of metal they've never in computer like things that they can't figure out, so they say. And so I thought it was all interesting to listen to that, and I'm just waiting for the next installment that we are being invaded by. But no, these really, what are they? What are they? We have to, as have a logical answer for them, and most people are not going to take what Christians say about them at all. These are interdimensional beings, and these interdimensional beings are demons, or fallen watchers. Why do I say that? Is there any evidence anywhere that should suggest by the year 2025 that it was possibility that there will be some type of contact being made? Because in the hearings, the contact already has been made through crashes and collecting remains, but it also sounds like they're not talking about it. Their actual contact has been made, but it's non-specified as. Um, I can't talk about that now, and it's still classified. They won't allow me to. They they always say they won't allow me to answer that, and so I'm listening to all this stuff. I'm going, okay, okay, so. I don't believe they are. I believe they're demonic entities coming back into the world, just like it says in the Bible. Where does it say in the Bible? It says, "As in the days of Noah, so will it be and as it was in the days of Lot, so will it be as in one of the plural days of the Son of Man." In other words, in the days of Noah, the fallen watchers came and altered humanity. And what Jesus was saying, this is going to happen again. Oh, yeah. Some people will go back to Genesis chapter 6 and say, this is the Cain's line versus Seth's line, and they intermingled with each other, and that's really not right. I used to believe that, and I had to recant on that one. I used to teach it too, that version of it, because it just sounded logical. But the more I started looking into studying the old gods and stuff, and the ancient and the phenomenon that's going on with the UFOs, which I've got into it as a hobby for many years. I guess that goes if you like Star Trek, you like this old sci-fi movies, the space invader movies, and uh, so I like these old cult classic movies. Some of them are pretty stupid, like Lobster Man from Mars. I cracked up laughing. I was laughing so hard watching that thing. It's so stupid, it's good. And I never believed the old movie actor Tony Curtis played in it. And it was a well done dumb movie, and so it's just funny. And but anyway, it had great actors in it. Anyway, I digress. But when I was looking at all this stuff, what is going on? And people are going to be asking what are going on. And these are interdimensional beings, and we have to realize that you have to swallow your Seth and daughters of Cain pride, and you just might be wrong. So how are you going to answer what these things are? Oh, they're demons. Well, I thought you didn't really believe in demons. I mean, you do, but then you really don't do much about it. Um, do you believe in deliverance? Oh, no, no, no. We don't believe in that stuff. That disappeared into the church age. Do you believe in signs, wonders, and miracles? And, some do, some don't. Whatever. And we're approaching something that's really bizarre, especially when congressional hearings are out, and it sounds like I'm a sci-fi movie. They don't know what it is. We made contact with. We have some fleshly remains. We have parts of ships. We can't figure out the circuitry of how these things work. All this stuff. Some of the light orbs are sound like probes of something, like we send out our probes, or you know they that's what they call them, probes. You just fly around and take pictures, whatever, like scanners and stuff. That's what they think they are, because some of these things will make the airplanes controls go wacky for a bit and stuff. So they usually have to break off the engagement, or they can film them at a safe distance on gun cameras. And the most amazing ones seem to just dive into the ocean, and when they go into the ocean, they're going the same speed as they are in the sky. So that's why I say these are interdimensional beings, and they're coming back on Earth, and they're probably coming from, you know, in the cosmos here. It would be the air around the Earth is where they would come from. Okay, they're the hierarchy that did not get thrown into the abyss. Uh, as the Book of Enoch talks about, 200 of the head leaders were thrown into the abyss, and Jubilees mentions that the devil didn't want to go there, but he talked to God. Says, "How can I teach mankind medicine?" Okay, medicine. I understand what it's saying, but it's not medicine like we think. It's the cure for sin. How are you going to cure their sin? That's what he's saying. So God relented and gave him 10%, which would be 20, and he'd be 21 of those things. Are the head leadership is still in power. Now, if you can take my word on it or not, it's in the Book of Jubilees, in the Book of Jasher, especially the Book of Jubilees, and it talks about these fallen watchers and everything they do and how they operate it. And it's oddly the same things are beginning to transpire right now, especially out of the Book of Jasher. It talks about they altered one species with another. It wasn't talking about how the old timers used to do it. You take one uh, one type of bull, and you made it with another type of bull, and you keep getting a bigger and bigger and bigger bull until you get a humongous bull. That's just you're using the same species, but this was cross species. That's what it's saying. They cross species. And evidently, what I gathered from the Enoch, as well as Jasher and Jubilees, and Josephus and stuff, and some other writing like the Book of Giants, there was some experimentation going on, mixing of one species with another, which would make sense. And all these alien abductions they talk about here always have to do with some sort of sexual um, exam. I'll be discreet about it, and inserting pieces of metal in people's skin, and they have gotten these out. And there are videos of people, and people have disappeared because of these videos. They released them, pictures of things they can't explain, that are not fostered or photoshopped or AI produced at all. These are older videos, and so there are things going on around us that we're not aware of, and we're watching something happen. And so, will contact be made with space aliens? I doubt it. What I really think is they'll be coming like that, fooling us, maybe. The fallen watchers are returned to what? To guide humanity into a brighter, brighter, brighter future. You know, and these things, according to the occult esoteric world, don't want war. They want everything perfect. They're leading and guiding humanity toward collectivism. I find it odd when I investigate this stuff, how these entities are so concerned about Mother Earth and taking care of the planet and how to govern yourself like a esotericist does. You need to have communism, a spiritual communism. They don't say that, but it's a socialist. It's just weird when I do the research. I don't have my documents with me to show you right now on this, but I just thought it was bizarre to say the least, if not less, is how these things are all about saving the planet, getting rid of the Western civilization, free market, and everything. It's just kind of suspicious. And basically, how to do something. I'm going to use this slide. It has nothing to do with UFOs, but it has a word in it I want to use. And I hope that I got this off of a video. I can't remember where I got it from, but I just going to just put it up here. It's called Degrowth. It says communist urges to cuts for meat, cars, and travel. This was May 29th, 2024, recently. So what is degrowth? And whoever did this said degrowth holds that there will always be a correlation between economic output and carbon emissions, so that the best way to fight climate is for wealthy nations to cut back on consumption and reduce the material throughput that creates demand for energy and drives GDP. The degrowth movement has swelled in recent years, particularly in Europe and in academic circles. The theory has dramatic implications. Duh. What they're saying is you got to stop growing your economy to save the planet. The same thing that the space aliens are saying. And maybe they don't like meat. I don't know. Uh, you know, these, or space contact. Some people they are abducted, and they hear they get messages from these things. That's what they report. If that's real, it's real. If it's not, it's not. But I find it odd. It always has to do with Marxist socialist bent. Degrowth, communist urges cuts for meat, cars, and travel. Why? To destroy our economy, make us weaker, so they can take over. That's what it's about. And so I wonder if I don't. The congressional hearing says they don't think any nation on earth has this type of technology. I don't think so either. But they want whatever it is. Seems to want a degrowth movement. They want to save the earth. They want a Green New Deal that will bankrupt you. And I find it odd that it's similar to the Rockefeller 2010 report on scenarios for development, and and all has to do with 4 chapters. You have uh, the one chapter is on climate change and how to uh, solve climate change by degrowth movement. Basically, is what they're talking about. This is put out by the Rockefeller Foundation. It was a collective effort on their part in a think tank, and they war game this. Now it's a scenario plan, war game it, whatever you want to call it, how to solve climate change. And all the conclusions for every chapter was through organizations forming I can't pronounce this. I have a speech impediment; it gets in the way sometimes. Philanthropies. And these are organizations that are in that. These are the great men of the earth who form these funds and corporate guilds, whatever you want to call them, and they fund this stuff. And so they are the ones, the rich men of the earth, or the great men of the earth, the ones who own a lot of stuff, want this stuff. Okay, they want this type of movement, and so they have this so following the logic here and stuff of where it's going, and it's remarkable to see that it lines up with a little bit of Bible prophecy about the great men of the earth, and it goes back to Genesis chapter 6, what Jesus said about Genesis chapter 6 and Matthew 24 and Luke 21, I think it is, or 17, and about as it was in the days of Noah. And when you go back and really study it and just get rid of the Seth and daughters of Cain stuff, which absolutely makes no sense, this starts to make sense. We're seeing altering of chamaras. We have pigs that are growing human organs and ears and noses and stuff on it. We have different types of creatures they're experimenting on, trying to, they mix things. They were successful back in 2015. I got a good laugh out of it. They combined jellyfish DNA with bunny rabbits to make glow-in-the-dark bunny rabbits. It was a big hit, I guess, in Britain. People were buying these things. Watch this. Bunny glows in the dark. Great for hunting. Let's have glow in the dark bunnies. So when we go hunting at night for them, or something like that. I don't know. I'm just chatting away. But anyway, when I look at all this and realize that these people are serious, and it all involves destroying our economies, it is an amazing thing. And they want us to go backwards to a new Eden. If you and all the Karl Marx wanted to go back to a new Eden, and communism, or being the communist man, would do that. Uh, Fascists wanted to get back to the Garden of Eden and a new place, a new utopia and stuff. And it goes back to the same stuff. And I thought it was kind of interesting that all of a sudden we have space aliens who are connecting with human beings. And so, according to some of the reports out there, people have contact with them, they contact them. And so that's what they say. Some of that has been verified, some of it has been proven false, but by and large, it is true what I'm saying because it's been verified. And but anyway, I just thought it was interesting to see all this, and then go, wow, here we are getting close to the year 2025, and you have these books written, scenario plans like the Rockefeller Foundation, talking about climate change and basically getting rid of, and it's some sort of degrowth movement to save the planet. That means you cut back on meat, you got to cut back on food production. Basically, a good old-fashioned famine is what you're doing. Good old communist famine, like Cambodia did. Eliminated 24 or 25% of their entire population through these policies they had. China, 20 million, some say 30 million, are probably more than that. So did communist Russia. It makes sense to me. And then another chapter talks about it talks about some sort of magical disease that comes from the United States. It affects the world, and people panic, and it further stresses the economy. And we had something play out like that, very similar, not too long ago, at least 4 years ago, if you remember. I don't know if you remember, but we're not allowed to remember that, nor are we allowed to talk about it. Maybe we should have congressional hearings on that, why we can't talk about it thing. But anyway, it's just an amazing thing to see that they had something like that planned, and that panned out. And then the next plan was Hack Attack. That's a chapter of the book. Hack Attack. That's everybody is getting hacked into. Your bank account's not secure. They're making you feel really insecure about your banks. And I got my third or fourth thing. Hey, sorry, Charlie, you got to report this. You got to go on Experian. You have to do this. Do it immediately. All this data has been breached. They got everything on you. It's like, okay. Hack Attack. In that chapter of Hack Attack, it talks about destroying society through criminal activity like bank, hacking into computer systems. This is a big one. The next one is releasing inmates, or criminality in the street, increasing the criminality in the street to bring the social um, stuff down. And so that's an amazing thing. And so I got a message from, I don't want to talk to somebody from Restream. I don't know how they know I'm on here. Anyway, I want to keep talking, but they basically they get people so afraid that the entire everything is reset. Amazingly, it's reset, and society breaks down in that chapter. And in the next chapter, Scrambled Together, there is oddly no more USA. Just like H.P. Blavatsky talked about from the sixth root race stage. There'll be no more Americas or Western Europeans, as all the third world countries are going to come scramble together and save the world, and get into this collectivist hive. And any survivors in New York City, you get to plow up your streets in New York City and plant crops. Good luck to you, because I've been in New York, and you know that you live there, know that this is true. Some of those streets never see any sunlight at all. So, you know, all this stuff gets pretty weird when you start putting it together and start thinking about it. That's all I'm doing is thinking about it. You're looking at all this weird stuff going on and these scenario plans, and they have one in 2009 for pro-poor development. And then it was all about getting the internet into third world countries to monitor um, their growth. And another degrowth movement, they wanted surveillance. They wanted surveillance in all the third world countries. They wanted surveillance in all second and first world countries, whatever you call it, the major world. And I thought everything they've talked about in the Rockefeller Foundation is coming to pass. It mirrors what these so-called space aliens come out with. It mirrors what the esoteric world is. And I guess what? I can just put 1 + 1 = 2. I do real math, not mathematics where they teach now where it can equal anything you all want. It equals 2. I mean, I put it together, and these are interdimensional beings. These are creatures from the pit of hell, as well as the fallen watchers coming back. So if there's any evidence in the occult world for this, yes, there is. I'll bring it up on screen. I've done it before. There's externalization of the hierarchy on page 281. That's the PDF. Alice Bailey channeled this, and I quote, "Thus, a great and new movement is proceeding, and tremendously increased interplay and interaction is taking place. This will go on until AD 2025. During the years intervening between now and then, very great changes will be seen taking place." In 2025. I cut some stuff out there. The date, in all probability, will be set for the first stage of the externalization of the hierarchy. The present cycle from now until that date is called technically the stage of the forerunner. It is preparatory in nature, testing in its methods, and intended to be revelatory in its techniques and results. And it goes on. I can go to the actual thing and read it to you in much more detail. But basically, something will happen in 2025. It'll be the first stages of the externalization of the hierarchy. And Alice Bailey defined the hierarchy as spirits. She called them good spirits. We call them fallen watchers and demonic entities. They're all about saving the planet, looking out for your best. The same thing that Marxists say, we're here to solve all the economic and poverty woes and all this stuff. And here you have an occult writing. And she didn't say in just one place. She said in 3 distinct places. I just put that one down because it's the most descriptive. The others talk about to 2025, these things are coming back. And as I did my investigation, when I looked at this, and you can judge on your own, think for yourself, okay? Don't take my word for it. It says, this 1, 2, 3, the third paragraph, sentence. It says the present cycle from until that date is called technically the stage of the forerunner. It is preparatory in nature, testing in its method, intended to be revelatory in its techniques and results. And if you follow her logic, it'll be a time of upheaval and social chaos. Everything the great men of the earth today have planned for through the Rockefeller Foundation, like Hack Attack, is happening right before our eyes. We already had the other one about this imaginary disease. It came from another country, but oddly in that chapter, this far eastern country happens to be the innovator of all things and cures the disease. But I digress. It's just interesting to see that. And we have the climate change phenomenon that's constantly pounding to destroy, degrowth you. They want you um, in a collective cell. Okay. Easily tracked, controlled, and monitored. And that is what I am seeing. And I read that, put together the occult literature, look at all this stuff, and I just stand amazed. Is this really happening? I'm just like you. I go, is this my research that I did? Is this really happening? And all of a sudden, I have congressional hearings about little green men from Mars or something coming down, and they got parts of bodies and ships, and there's some things they can't talk about, and it's just. And Congress needs to get a hold on it. They're asking for some money. It could be a sham to get money. I don't know. I don't think so. There's too many reports, too many incidences, too many photographs and everything. They don't know if they have hostile intent, but they're going to come as your friend. Trust me. And this fits the ancient pagan mythologies and stories when the seven sages came to Earth. They call them the seven sages to teach humanity civilization. One went by the name of Azazel, who taught them how to make makeup and glamour as well as war, which lines up with Artemis, Diana, Aphrodite, the same entity, and then Horsag. It's a triple goddess stuff. Um, so I just find it all interesting. Maybe you find it interesting. I don't know. Uh, I want to see if I could go to the comments. I want to take a chance, and hopefully the chat is working. And my chat is not working. Okay. Okay. Um, I'm gonna type this lady YouTube. I am on it now. No chat. So bear with me. I'm just going to see if this lady will actually try to do something. And so anyway, if she comes on, her name's Judy. Say hi to Judy, but Judy won't be able to post anything because I wouldn't be able to see it unless they're restream and they have some way to do it. Jason was able, and I was able to even see some other things, but I sure didn't see her stuff. So what can I say? If she comes on, I have it on chat, but probably not going to do it. So anyway, what is your opinion on this? You can put it in the comments after this is over. It'll be a good conversation getter. I am going to go to my YouTube page on my phone and look at the chat just for the heck of it to see if anybody has any comments. Because right now you can't put comments on here. So let me get up here. Oh yeah, we have some chats. Yeah. Okay. There's a lot of people, not too many people on right now, but yeah, there's some comments on there, but I don't see any comments on my end. But anyway, I just find it interesting that they're talking about all these entities in real time. It's like watching a science fiction movie. You put it together with what the occult world has written, and things start to make real sense. And you also see a push for collectivism. Now, with Mr. Trump's reelection, we have to, it remains to be seen on that. We don't know how that's going to pan out. I will admit, and I will admit that when I found out that he won, I felt a big, heavy burden lift off everywhere. It seemed like a big burden left off. Um, Okay, so Judy says, I see. She has, this is a restream chat. And Judy says, please accept my sincerest apologies for any inconvenience that you may have faced. Our team is currently investigating the situation and working on a fix. For now, I'm happy to place you on a list to be notified once the issue has been resolved. Thank you so much for understanding. I put really, thank you for taking the time to do this. Thank you. In case Restream wants to know about my YouTube channel, I deal with Christian fringe topics. We talk about UFOs, all kinds of strange things and phenomena, things that go bump in the night. And we're dealing with the occult world, all kinds of bizarre things that people like to talk about that mainstream churches don't. So tonight we're talking about UFOs and the UFO phenomenon, how it correlates right now to uh, strangely Marxism. socialism and stuff. And it lines up with esoteric writings like Alice Bailey about the year 2025 will be the externalization of the hierarchy. She called it the hierarchy, these spiritual entities that came to civilize humanity. She writes about it in Cosmic Fire. And I don't have the ability. I wish I did. On another thing, I don't. That Restream doesn't do is I can't run the ad scenes to it where I could actually put the this book, the PDF there, and roll through it. If I do, the sound goes out. So if anybody's listening on Restream here, when I use add scene, I might lose my sound. It gets muffled and exponentially muffled. And I did everything you said to fix it, and it doesn't work. So you want to do that if you're hearing me. Hope you do. Another issue to take care of. But anyway, I sit there and I watch all the news stuff, and I'm seeing all the stuff play out. And like today, after I got off the first time when the live chat didn't work, I just went and I started watching all this stuff about about the congressional hearings, and it really piqued my interest because it all correlates and begins to fit like a glove. And I could be wrong, I'm just saying, but right now, hypothetically, and it needs to be tested, everything needs to be tested, especially what I'm talking about, needs to be tested. And once you test things, you can come to a more understanding of it. And it's so far, as I test it, I'm getting to see a pattern. There's a definite push for a spiritual communism, especially even from the space aliens. Conveniently, how's like that? Same thing that esotericists talk about, who said that in the preparatory years there will be time of testing. That's up to the year 2025. What have we seen? And now Trump is coming in on the scene, and it seemed like a big, huge weight was lifted off of people. People start feeling better, but I keep telling people, don't let your guard down. These people are nut jobs. They are crazy. These people are these people that are in halls of power and stuff that want Marxism stuff, and it's a blend of it's a Chinese communism is a blend of fascism and communism, because pure communism doesn't work. You have to mix it with fascism so you have an industry base that can work, but the state can still control the industry. That's Chinese communism. What we're seeing now with critical race theory, critical queer theory, critical this that theory, is Mao's Cultural Revolution, and I've been studying that, and we're inundated with the same thing, and the, I think they call it the didactical spiral. And it's a new term. When I was in college, I did not ever hear of the didactical spiral, but they spiral up until they reach the end of making a new Eden on earth, a Marxist utopia. You own nothing and you'll be happy about it, you know. And it's just interesting how all this parallels and seems to be coming together. Now, with Mr. Trump being in office, some things could change for the better. But what happens if hypothetically speaking, and you can put this in the comments, I always like to read the comments, and we can talk about this later once they get the live chat fixed. Do you think the economy was going to make it? Do you think these people are so crazy that they would pull the plug and collapse their own economy in order to take power again and do the conservative movement in? They already brand everybody who believes in Trump as a Christian nationalist. That is, people don't even know what Christian nationalist is. And so you got a lot of innocent people saying, oh, I'm a Christian nationalist. No, you don't. You're not a Christian nationalist. Trust me, you're not. You are a Christian first, okay? What is Christian nationalism? How am I getting on this subject? We're talking about space aliens and congressional hearings. Well, I don't know how it will fit, but I just might as well we'll say it anyway. The thing about a Christian nationalist, if I say names, people will get really irritated and they'll get mad because some of these people are put up on guru status in Christian churches. I have no idea why. And basically, it's a Christian identity movement. And it was came out of England, it ran out of favor, and it came to the United States with a willing ear and a running heart to run with the vision, and it fit with the temperament of the separate but equal idea back in the day. And so the Christian identity movement slash became Christian national movement was confined totally to the, we call them KKK types. And let's see, Roy E. Davis had a Baptist church. He was not really a Baptist church. He was in 1915 the grand wizard of the entire Ku Klux Klan. They paraded it down the streets of Washington, D.C. I remember in high school I had to do a report on the KKK. And I go to the library and I took newspaper articles, and back then you have photocopiers and stuff, and put this whole report together about the KKK. I got it somewhere around here. It's actually pretty good. And I have pictures of these guys marching down DC, hundreds of thousands of these characters. So the KKK types were really big back in the day. And so they were the Christian nationalists. Now you have a term thrown at you by the left calling you Christian nationalist because of a certain individual that came up who was who was mentored by Roy E. Davis and was just as a uh, um, extremist, prejudiced bigot as Roy E. Davis was. And his name was William Branham. So people extol William Branham as something great and wonderful, but he was a racist, a devout racist. He was a segregationist. He would support George Wallace in a heartbeat back then. But he died mysteriously in a car crash arguing with his wife. Anyway, I digress. After he thought that he was the Elijah who was going to announce Jesus' second returning, after you take over all the cultural mountains of influence. And so it goes to dominionism. And so they call that Christian nationalism. And the vast majority, 99% of all Christians do not believe in that trash. But the news media will label you that because they have some basis of truth that it was KKK extremist theology that wants to take over all the governmental agencies and institute a religious theocracy on the planet. That was big back a long time ago. I mean, really not that long ago. It ended in the 1960s. It petered out in the early 70s. I remember some of this stuff. That's what turned me off about Christianity at the day and time. And I became an agnostic and then atheist and all that. You know my story. And I became a Christian after being atheist for a long time. And because of some of this garbage. So I know what I'm talking about. And you hear some people, older folks, that grew up in the 60s, born in anywhere from 1940 on up to uh, early 60s, whatever, they remember it. And they grew up in this stuff, and especially older folks, they're very, I don't want Christians to take over the planet. They're going to set up a theocracy. Same thing. That's where it came from. That's the root comes from. It came from, was British Israelism changed to Christian identity, then to Christian nationalism in the United States. And it was a very racist, militant thing, and had to be brought down. And it died out. By the 1960s, the civil rights movement crushed that puppy. And by the late 1970s, I grew up that time. I know this is a fact. I grew up. I was in the middle of a race riot. I was severely beat almost to the point of death I was bused to an all-black church, not church, but a school, pretty much predominantly black school, and I with a bunch of other people, and in junior high, and surrounded in the gym, and it was beat to a bloody pulp, and managed to escape. And as I was getting up the stairs into the lobby, we had we had one black principal, one white principal. I don't know who was in charge. I don't remember. They saw me getting assailed with these people with these big black power fists made out of shop clubs. And they smacked me on the back of my head. I saw stars, went to my knees. I heard, that honky has a hot head. Poof. And so this is I think the Lord rescued me. Something got me on my feet, and I managed to get up to the stairs and sat in there. And I had a concussion, a severe concussion. And I didn't know what to tell my parents. My head was ringing, and all I remember, they said, "Don't let him sleep. Don't let him sleep." So I grew up in a tumultuous time. I know what racism looks like, both ways. Racism is not defined by one person's skin color over another. All races are guilty of racism. I hate to break it to you, but but if you look at each other as human beings, liberty, freedom, and kindness and forgiveness, that stuff goes away. And that's what happened by the 1980s. The racism was dying. By the 1990s, it was pretty much going. In some areas in the South, in the deep South and stuff, there was some there. The KKK basically died out. The last, and I think still current, uh, um, there's only about 3 million actually white supremacists or Christian nationalists in the entire country. And so they still exist, but because they still exist, it's not, uh, you know, what do you call it? Epidemic? What do you call it? Yeah, and everything. And so the Marxists will use that to label Christians based on something in the past to get the FBI out to look at parents who don't want their kids learning sex stuff at an early age, pornography in schools at PTA, at school board meetings, and you're now an enemy. That's why they go after the right for life people, put some of them in jail, and that's real, folks, because they got a label. This is by design. This is no different than Mao's Cultural Revolution. They call it critical theory now. It's the same thing, a circular way of reasoning uh, to degrowth you and destroy who you are as a person and get you in fear so you can't react. And it's pretty much what it is, even though it's absolutely false. And if you try to say to the person it's false, they'll say, "Well, you got white privilege." No, I don't believe you. I'm calling you a liar. No, I know what I am, and I ain't that. Oh, you're just a no. I'm not buying what you say. You don't have to tell these people to their face no en masse. Tell them to shut up. We're not taking it anymore. And that's what Trump's election was about. Enough is enough. We want our country back. We want our children back. We want our government back. We want to be Americans. We're not what you Marxists say we are. We're saying no to you. So these people are not going to take kindly to being say no to. You're talking with a psychopathic, narcissistic mind. My background is in criminal justice. I worked on treatment teams. I was managing sex offenders. If you want to know any more, I can fill you in on a lot of stuff. But so I know how these people think. It's covert, mid-level, really truly narcissistic and love of yourself. They're just really looking in the mirror, kissing it. And you got the overt narcissist. Covert, overt narcissists just want to control everything, and how the manner they do is different. If you stand up to them, they'll do everything they can to crush you. I had a supervisor like that once. Had to work with one. Whoops, I just got too close to the camera. I'll have to sit back. There I go. And yeah, and some of you worked with these people too. And they'll do everything to crush you if you don't comply with every one of their demands. The problem is you'll never do. So, um, but these people are no different than that. So even though Trump won, uh, they're coming back. They don't want to lose power. But the way to victory is to say no to them, also mimic them, laugh at them, stuff like that. They can't take that. So that's this. So when I put all this stuff together, and what we're seeing is a degrowth movement. I guess my final point would be a degrowth movement. They want to degrowth you as a human being and make sure in the collectivist Marxist mind, and I can't remember which person said it. I was listening to James Lindsay on the New Discourses channel, and I think he said it. And I can't remember the name of the person who said it. It might have been Marx, and no, 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 no. Favar. I can't remember his first name. This dude that was part and parcel of the United Nations, a very famous guy. He is a theosophist, but and and he mentioned that people basically how they view the world. I think Marx might have did the same thing. That he viewed the world that the individual was born to be and come into the world automatically a communist. You're automatically collectivist because the the left thinks you're a herd animal. You're nothing like an ant. You're just like an animal. You're a herd animal, and so you have to be part of a herd, a collective hive, and that's what you're to be. You're a new Soviet man, a new species being. And so this new species being is a naturally communist, but through materialism and free market capitalism, people changed and got away from it. So they want to have a revolution and go back in the past to reshape the future into a collectivist hive. And so they view you as, I think as Favar said, that you are a cell in the body. You're an individual cell, and you cannot go outside of your cell ship, and you only can fellowship with the cells around you. And then in late 2000, not just recently with the WEF and Klaus Schwab and stuff, talking about 15-minute cities, you're a cell in this group. Your internal organs are the institutions, the government institutions, tax and IRS, whatever you have, uh, police, firefighters. It has to do with um, corporate entities. They supply you with all you need. Make sure you can survive, and you're not allowed to move outside of your cell ship. You don't. You're just a cell in a 15-minute city. That's all you're worth. Nothing to these people. So why they want to do that? They can control you, so there will be no more wars. There will be only peace and blue sky above. You'll be fed bug burgers and whatever they've been talking about. Read it on the WF website. Klaus Schwab said it many times, about eating bugs. So it's a matter of fact now, not of conspiracy stuff, but it's true. And you watching all this stuff, and you got to start putting it together, folks. And so they want to make this your cell. You're being fed by the internal organs that are giving you your nutrition. The spinal column and the nerves are the communist, are the Soviet, the governing council. And when that's what Soviet means, governing council or ruling council, depending on whoever's defining it. But that's what it basically means, governing council. You can look it up I think I got that all out of Webster's dictionary. And so it's a governing council. So a Soviet man is a man governed by a council. So you're a new species being in a collective hive, a cell. The state is going to nourish you. All the governmental and corporate fascists bound together, state-run corporations, colluding with the government, profiteering off of everything, going to feed you and take care of you. And the communists or the Soviet council will govern you. If you're a bad cell, you don't get nothing to eat today. Good cell, you turn somebody in, we'll let you take a vacation with your metaverse glasses and travel anywhere in the world you want for 2 hours. Okay, you know, I'm just kind of being a little tongue in cheek there, not too far off the truth. The brain is where the the top of the creme of the elite, the top of esorteicists live, and they govern everybody because they're connected with the beings from above, the hierarchy, the fallen watchers to govern the world, to tell the council how to govern and keep the serfs to be individual cells and not travel around and cause havoc and do too much consuming. But they all have to share the heartbeat and the blood. The blood means spirit in German. Blut in the fascist world. Blut, blood. I always remember that from learning that in history. Old Adolf, yeah, old mustache man, old Adolf would say, "We are bound together by blood, by blood, by spirit," is what he meant, and to be conformed to the state, the state, the state. And you have no identity at all. It's all about the state. So anyway, so you have to have what Alice Bailey would call the silent watcher, who watches over everything, who's going to come back to earth. This is the Antichrist in Christian circles, who's going to rule the earth. He's going to be the heart beat of humanity. He's going to keep the blood flowing, the spirit of collectivism flowing and enforced in the world of group love, group conformity, and group control. Her words, not mine. And that's their perfect world. The same type of ideology that you hear these so-called people who had connected with these aliens. I've listened to some of them; they're very credible, and there's no reason to doubt some of them. Some of them I will doubt, but if this is true and this is an actual thing, then these things are actually communicating esoteric theosophy to them. Wow, what a connection! What a connection! So, tell me what you think. I can't do the live chat. I don't know. I'll look on here to see what the live chat is. We might have a few people. Um, it's like Rin is on here. It says, Kong says, I believe the giants of old is the big techs of today, like AI and so on. Yep, people. Yeah, who knows? But maybe I should do my review of I did it. It's already done. I just refer you to look at my Bible numbers series on YouTube, Rumble. Go back, look at that a couple of years ago or 3 years ago. I did it, and just you can take this with a grain of salt. Everything has to be tested. But I found a code in the Bible, and I don't tell anybody about it. I don't tell you how to crack the code. I don't tell you anything because I can't. People would abuse this, and so when I found it in Genesis, and I found it shocked me. And some of the stuff I learned in my after-death experience too. But when I was reading it, and I was reading, was all of a sudden I did my calculations and I did the code that I found in the Bible. Um, it was a back and forth between Satan or Satan and God, and it was like a play. And all of a sudden I said, this is not, I'm not kidding you. You can doubt this all you want. The Spirit of God fell on me. I could not, I laid down on the floor right here where I'm at. And I'm in the basement. This is not, that's a green screen. Well, I'm out and I'm laying on the floor in the concrete, a little piece of carpet on me, but that's most of them on the concrete. I couldn't move. And I said, Lord, this is what I just read was so holy that if I teach people how to do this, they would exploit it and abuse it. I can't tell anybody about this. What do I do with it? And all I got answered was silence. I'm just leaving it alone for now. So I don't tell anybody that. But the basic idea was there was this back and forth. It was like God getting ready to cast the devil to earth. And what it was about was a rebellion that he led in heaven. So I read it in the book of Genesis, chapter 1 is where I found it. And in this code, and I'm reading about, oh, there was this meeting, and this guy, and the devil came up before he became the devil. He was the covering cherub, Ezekiel 28, and he led this rebellion, and he planned this thing. And I'm reading about it. So I'm looking at this code, and that's why I don't tell anybody about it. And so before I got to that point, I found some things to that point, and one thing I found was in this code, and interpret Bible numbers by how they're used in the scripture, okay, and they're Paleo Hebrew numbers. There's certain ways to do it. I won't get into all that now. It's very arduous work. It ain't easy. You can't shortcut it, and you have to be disciplined, and you can't try to make it say something it's not. But anyway, I digress. But when I got to this point where they were planning the rebellion and stuff, and they were actually going to pit God's character and nature against each other. Exactly what I learned in my after-death experience that I've been teaching on for years. And then so I said, okay, I'll go to Genesis chapter 6 and see what this code says about Genesis chapter 6. And my wow. And I did a whole series on that on YouTube. You can go back and look at that. And I think it's The Days of Noah or whatever. And that's the title of it. And I did that number thing, and I went through it. And I show you my findings in my interpretation. Is it 100% accurate? Very well could be. It may not be. I mean, I always take things and test things. In fact, I was trying to disprove my own theory. Trust me, I really tried hard to disprove my own theory. I haven't been able to do it yet. When I do get into there and I use that code, I go, wow. And I haven't used it since I was on the floor. I stopped doing it. But when I was doing interpreting in Genesis chapter 6, I was astounded how it mentions stuff that correlates to the book of Jasher. How about the entities coming to earth, making deals with the chiefs of the earth, the chiefs, the people in charge, people who, if they were tribal people, I don't know. In that time, we don't know. I think they had cities, so they were civilized, so they had chiefs and rulers. These entities went to them, and these people sold their daughters, uh, young daughters, to these entities, and it sounds like they altered their DNA. In the actual translation, it reads, and they altered the temple structure. And I thought that was interesting because the Bible talks about the human body being the temple. And then it hit me. That's exactly what it meant. It's like they altered the human temple. And then you got Nephilim. So as it was in the days of Noah, we're going to see this type of experimentation being done again, of course, for the most noblest reasons to help people. And some of it's very good, being able to use a bionic arm, and you can feel your own fingers again when you wear this thing, and it really helps amputees. I'm all for that, but that's not what it's actually for. It's always, if you ever watch the Rings of Power, the season 2, and Sauron is there, and he's doing it all for good, peace, and safety. This is the perfect. It is so um, uh, philosophically well done, if you like this type of thing, and it expresses esotericism in that, and so how the enemy deceives people and thinking these rings you can use them for good, but they're actually going to turn around and bite you because they're evil. But they're always good. It's always for something good. We can use these rings for good. We can heal this tree of Lorien or whatever it was from dying, so we don't have to leave Middle Earth, that type of thing. There's some good that can be used out of these elven rings, and these dwarves have their 7 rings, and one of them corrupted. One of the dwarfs ruined his life, and so there you go. Starts out good, turns out bad, and that's the principle. That's what they sell you, and so they always make it sound good. And so I found the same thing in the same principle, I mean, in my Bible code on Genesis chapter 6. And I'm going, wow, they met and they traded their daughters to be experimented on for promises of kingdoms and so forth. It makes perfect sense. It's pretty logical what I found. It just almost was easy to translate because the sentences were already there. Just kind of, I can't explain how to do this because I can't share how I did it. But if anybody knows what I'm talking about, then you would have to there's a couple of things you can show me. It'll let me know that you know the code. Trust me, if you knew the code, you could do it. But other than that, I ain't gonna tell anybody because it's just what I haven't had permission to, so I'm not going to. I will interpret Bible numbers, how they're used in the Bible and stuff like that, but I don't go back to looking at individual verses and seeing the numbers in there and how they work, how to interpret them. So as it was in the days of Noah, and I think we're pretty much getting there. We have Chamaras, we have all this stuff. Something's going on. And if I could bring up online and show you the cosmic fire, I might go back and bring that up sometime and just go over it and read the occult version of Genesis chapter 6, Alice Bailey channel. The fallen watchers are heroes. They came to save us and educate us and keep us from the demiurge, pure Gnosticism. And so it's I find it ironic, and I think Chuck Missler wrote about it in his book, and others have written about it too, Gary Wayne and stuff, and other writers. They talk about these things. They sound like Marxist. Who would think? Actually, collectivist would be the correct word. Um, Food for thought here. Fascism and Marxism are not two opposite things. They are same, but they're the same in degrees. They both want to build a new Eden on Earth, but how they get there varies. Okay, they're like two steel rails on a railroad track, and you have the ties that hold it together. That's the socialism, tying the two tracks together on the road to hell. So that is pretty much how to look at that. And they both play on each other to create a synthesis. In the esoteric world, the synthesis is to make a new totalitarian state. It'll be a blend of all socialist ideologies, communism, Marxism, Leninism, different forms of all that, Mensheviks, isms, okay, and you have uh, uh, Chinese communists, you have hardcore left-wing progressive, all socialists. You have fascists thrown in there and combined in one thing. They play against each other to synthesize and create this new religious system for a one world system. And that's pretty much how Alice Bailey and her mumbo jumbo and her Gilmore writing is basically pointing to, preparing the way for the Antichrist to come on the scene through a small group of people, just like the Bible says. Read the Bible. The Bible has all the answers right there, and you don't have to go sort through this stuff. I sort through it for you so you don't have to. And you got, so just watching the coming days, what's coming down the pike, especially with the UFO hearings, and you got Trump in office, and you got the left who just received a slap on the face. Any narcissist or psychopath that gets knocked down, they're coming back at you and with an insaneness that will be unmatched. Just get prepared for that and pray for our country, pray for our president that he can get through and actually get sworn in and make it past the 20th of January and live many, 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 many years after. Because these people would love to burn down the system to get back in power so they can punish us. What in the world's going on? I lost the internet connection. We got some bad net connection. Anyway, I'm about done anyway, rambling. So anyway, those are some of my thoughts for tonight and stuff. I'm glad y'all are here. I'll see if anybody asks any questions on this. We don't have very many people on tonight, but it's just interesting. So yeah, 14 people. But anyway, just late at night. I'm glad y'all tuned in. You can watch this one. This. I'm just talking, but I probably maybe should read the Cosmic Fire to you, the occult version of it to you, so you of Genesis chapter 6, and see what the enemy thinks about this. That they are liberating humanity to a new collectivism, and so yeah, pretty much. And your space brothers out there want the same thing. Interestingly enough. I remember Chuck Missler saying that, and he's right. He's right. Heard other people say it too. Um, the policies they want enacted and stuff. It, it, who knows? Who would ever think that the occult world is in politics? Not too many people. Not too many people at all. And never forget that Alice and Foster Bailey, theosophists, and many theosophists were involved in the founding of the United Nations. Headquarters of the Theosophical Society is up there next to the UN. They have a meditation room in the UN and a library inside the UN. That Favre guy was a big shot in that. I listened to a tape of his through James Lindsay. The guy is off his rocker, just like Lindsay says. Guy's crazy. Why in the world do people listen to him? But when I was listening to him, how he talks, he's doing what we call an enchantment or a gimore to spellcast to hook people into solving the climate issues by degrowthing movement, where you have to destroy your own food production, your own car manufacturers. You have to destroy everything to save the planet. So it's just interesting. Anyway, I am done. I just thought I'd just get back on because I had a disaster getting on, and I think the Restream people have enough of me on here anyway. So if you'd like to contact me, all my contact information's on the screen. Email information, PayPal information if you'd like to support me. My 2 books, Land Unknown, Hell's Dominion, and Heaven Beckons, are on there, and I know some of you have given me some great reports about the books, especially Heaven Beckons. And I remember I told the guy I was working with on the publisher, I said, this book is so badly written. I mean, just send it anyway. So I sent it, they accepted it, like, oh my gosh. And I was hoping to be in communication with the editor so I can explain why it was so badly written, and never got a chance. All I wanted was cleaned up, and they did an excellent job. And I didn't think I did a good job on that book, but they did a fantastic job. But I'm waiting to see the checks from that, which I haven't received yet, and it's a little overdue, I think. And if I have to take any type of action, I will take action legally to find out why. So anyway, I'm just talking, but I never dealt with a publisher before, so I don't know what to expect. Like this, I self-published my first book, Land Unknown, Hell's Dominion. Second is in another John Raw Books publisher published it. Contract looked good. I signed it, modified it, whatever. It's all. So anyway, I better go and see you all later. And there again, all my contact information, book information.